Welcome. Welcome, everybody. We are live on Facebook, and I am just really excited about today. It's been a great week. I can't believe that we are already this far into January, right? I mean, gosh, we're like way more than halfway over already. It's like it was just New Year's Eve. Right? Anyway, I am just so excited to be here with you today, and I thank you for joining us today. I have a really, I think it's a very important word for us today, but it's also an encouraging word. How many of you go through some times where, it's hard to muster up that faith, right? Sometimes we're going through a trial or a battle or a tribulation, maybe a need, and it's coming down to that last minute. And we're like, okay, God, I'm trusting, but I don't see that blessing yet, right? Well, I want to encourage you today that as soon as actually, before you even had the need, God already knew that the need was going to be there. He already knew it. He knows everything. He knows the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. He knows all of the things that you are in need of. He knows everything that you're going through today, and He even knows what's going to happen tomorrow and next year, right? So it is so important to just know that as soon as you pray, as soon as you ask God to meet that need, He's already on it. He's already got you. It's already going to happen. It's just going to be a matter of His timing. And also, a part of that miracle, a part of that victory that you want to see happen, I hate to say this to you, but it's truth. And I shouldn't say that I hate to say it to you, because I really don't. Because I want to see you prosper. I want to see you see God move in your life. And many times it's all about what we do or what we don't do, right? Our miracle comes through faith. The word says that God is no respecter of person. That's right. No respecter of person. But I will say this and promise you that He is a respecter of your faith. God only moves according to your faith. It's not according to just what His word says, because He moves by our faith. It's by your faith that God is going to come through and do the miracle for you. It's not according to your need. It's not according to your want. It's according to your faith. So be it unto you. According to your faith, be it unto you. If two or more agree on earth as touching anything, that shall it be done unto him. It's according to your belief, according to your faith. And today I want to talk a little bit about, the word says that faith without works is dead. And I think it was Paul, he said, you show me your faith, but I'll show you my faith by my works. So faith without works is dead. It does not work, right? And I am expecting God to do great things in 2026. And it's the Jewish year, and I want to just share this with you because it's faith building. Every year in the Jewish calendar, it has meaning. The year itself has a meaning. So this year, in the Jewish calendar, the number is 5786. That's what year it is in the Jewish calendar, 5786. And that means connection, divine alignment, rebuilding, transformation. Great shift. I love that. Great shift. Where is it in your life that you just need a great shift in? Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's your relationships. Maybe it's your business, your ministry. What do you need a great shift in 2026? Well, the Jewish year, the Jewish calendar, 5786, says that this year there'll be a great shift. It also says that it's a time for breakthrough, unity, and a deeper expression of faith. I love that. It's a time for breakthrough. And that's all according to our faith. That breakthrough, that year, that's what God has established for 2026. It's a time of a great shift. It's a time of breakthrough, of unity, divine alignment. You know, and that divine alignment, that has to do with us. We have to be in alignment with God, with His Word, with His purpose, and with His plan. And then we start to see God move in an amazing way, like unbelievable ways. He says that He'll do above and beyond all that you can ask, think, or imagine. God is ready to do above and beyond all you could ask, think, or imagine. And I wanted to share just a little bit of a testimony that happened through the ministry here. And let me back up. Because I want to use this to increase your faith, because God is so alive. He's so good, and He always meets our needs according to His riches and His glory, right? So we did an investment deal. I have been doing some investments over the last few years, just trying to, you know, improve the financial state of the ministry so that we can do these kinds of things, so that we can bring the news to those that need it, so that we could bring encouragement, so that we could empower others, so that we could be a blessing to widows in need, to single moms in need, to couples that are going through health issues that is causing financial hardship. As a matter of fact, we have one of our partners and dear friend of mine who is going through a very rough time. Her husband, who was, you know, the breadwinner of the family, had gotten stomach cancer. So he's been out of work. You know, there's a lot of bills piling up. I know that, you know, there's hospital visits, and of course with the hospital visits, there's hotel costs, and it just adds up and it's a burden. So we at Roberta Kay Ministries have helped families like this in need in those times as much as we can. You know, we're not some really large ministry, but we do what we can. And so we've been doing some investments to try to bring some more income into the ministry. And we did this one investment that was getting ready to close. And just here recently, as a matter of fact, it hasn't closed yet, but it's coming up. It's coming up in a week or two. And we were short. We are short, or we were, I'm saying we were short $300,000. And so I began, of course, you know, this has been for a few months now. I've been, you know, looking into how we could get this money, and I did up this big spreadsheet, and I had perfect peace, like through the whole thing. Like I knew God was going to do it. I didn't know how, but I just had peace that, you know, this is going to happen. So we got some information on, you know, doing remortgaging, and, you know, we did some stuff on personal loans. We did some stuff on HELOC loans. We did some, you know, trying to get the ministry a loan. So we had options. So I put together this big spreadsheet, you know, of all of our options, you know, the percentage rate, the closing cost, you know, if there was any penalties. You know, sometimes if you pay things off, there's a penalty. So anyway, so I did this whole big spreadsheet, and I'm like, God, I don't like any of these options. Like, you know, we need a miracle with our, you know, finances. And so lo and behold, last Tuesday, I was on my way to church at Victory Worship Center. It's the Tuesday night experience, and it is amazing. If you ever have a Tuesday night free, I encourage you to go to Victory Worship Center in Lake Lake Worth, Florida, and starts at 7 o'clock. It is an amazing service. It is just totally spirit-led. The gifts are allowed there, and it's very prophetic. Any rate, so I was on my way to this service, and my son had sent a text message to me regarding an individual. We had invested in a young adult male, and I had done it as an investment a few years back. We did a few investments with him. He was starting up a real estate business where he was buying real estate, fixing them up, and flipping the homes. And I thought this was like a great opportunity for us to give into a young person that was starting their business. And we would, give him some money to close on houses, and we would get a percentage rate, after the home sold. So it was a blessing for us too, but it was also us sowing seed into somebody else. Well, last Tuesday, my son said this gentleman was, in need to close. His money was tied up, and he wasn't going to get his money for a few days. But he had a closing the next day. And, so he wanted X amount of money. And I was like, at first, my first thought was like, that I have to close. Like, I have no extra money. Like, I need money. And, so at first I was like, no. And I'm like, how much does he need? And at any rate, so I get to service. And I'm in service and I'm worshiping God, and you know how God just speaks to you. And he's like, what do you need? And I was like, God, you know what I need. I need to be able to close on this real estate, right? On this investment property. He said, well, what does this gentleman need? And I said, oh no. I just stopped. I knew exactly where God was going with. It's so important that when you have a need, when the opportunity arises to sow a seed. Yes, that's right. So I, texted Michael. I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll give him the money to help him close, because I need help too. And God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to, sow into this gentleman's, financial issue, and I'm going to trust that you're going to do it for us too. And lo and behold, this week I was so ecstatic. God is so good. I was talking to our financial advisor, and things just turned. It just turned around. It shifted. One little act of obedience totally shifted the entire deal, the entire atmosphere. Now we had the money that we needed. And not only did God cause that shift in our financial realm to change, he also gave us a 4.25% interest rate. That's right. God is so amazing. And it's all because of that one act of faith, that one act of sowing into my need, sowing into your need will totally shift in an instant your circumstance. So what is your circumstance? What is it that you need to see God do in 2026? It's only one act of obedience away. One act of obedience, and God will totally shift everything into your favor. That's right. The favor of God is yours. That one act of obedience. I see too, like you say, okay, well, that's just one example. But no, like Elisha, the widow in debt. Well, there was Elijah who touched a widow, and Elisha who also touched a widow. And well, Elisha, the widow was in debt. The widow that Elisha talked to was in debt. Her sons were going to be taken into slavery. And Elisha told her, what do you have in your house? What do you have? And she said, all I have is a small vial of oil. And I think she had a little bit of, something else, barley or something, right? So he said, well, go and borrow. She only had just one jar with a little bit of oil in it. and he said, go and borrow empty vessels from all your neighbors, every vessel that you can get. So he and her and her sons went and borrowed all these vessels. And he said, now pour out what you have into all the vessels. One act of obedience, she went and got all those empty vessels. You know, God may cause you or have you to do something that is just crazy sounding, right? What do you need? Go borrow some empty vessels from my neighbors, okay? Whatever, you know, he's going to take that one little thing that you have and he's going to cause an increase. She was obedient. She did one act of obedience. She went and got those jars. And then he said, now start pouring it out. Take the little that you have and start pouring out what you have. What do you have in your house today? What do you have that can be used for the kingdom of God? What do you have that can be used towards your circumstance, towards your need, right? Elisha said to her to pour it out. So she took the empty vessels and she began to pour out the little oil that she had, and that oil didn't run out. It kept on pouring and filling up each vessel. She just kept pouring it and it just kept filling it up. Miracle provision. Miracle provision by one act of obedience. Then she looked to her son. She goes, where's another vessel? And there were no more. Then Elijah told her, now go and sell the oil and you'll have enough to pay all your debt and to live off of it. Imagine that. God can use what you have, the talent that you have, the giftings that you have, the merchandise that you have, whatever it is. God is saying today that one act of faith, that one act of using what you have in your home by faith, what you have in your heart, what you have, your ability, your gift, right? What is it that you have that you can pour out to somebody else? What is it that you can use, that you can just use by God? Allow him to use you. Allow him to use what you have in your house. Maybe there's a need. Maybe a neighbor is in need. What is it that you have in your house that you can give to that neighbor? I'm telling you, there's a big shift coming, and it's when we begin to use our gifts, when we begin to use our talents, when we begin to use what we already have by faith, that God is going to cause an increase. Look at what this widow was not only out of debt. Maybe some of you are in debt right now, and in 2026, you want to be debt free. I'm telling you, begin to use what you have. Begin to start pouring it out. God will show you. God will speak to you. He will nudge you. You know, we just started, I was meditating on Elisha and about the widow and, you know, what do you have, right? And I know that, my personal finances, I need to grow that. I need some extra income. And the Lord was telling me, just stirring that in my heart. And I had already thought about this, and I had even already taken a couple of courses and stuff. I've always done the bookkeeping for our businesses for years, like 20, 30 years, I don't know even how long. And so I know how to do the books, and I know, I have a computer, I have QuickBooks. And God said to me, it's time. So I started Clearview Bookkeeping, right? So now I'm using, and this is just to share with you, like God has things that you have right now that you can use for his glory to meet your need, wherever it is, whatever you need. You already have a seed. And I love what my dear friend, oh my goodness gracious, they say that if you have a need, plant a seed. That's right. Good friends of faith. It's a faith word. It's been around forever. And I'm telling you that I think it was Jerry Savelle, who might have been the first one to bring this out. But it's, if you have a need, sow a seed, right? What need do you have? And what seed, what do you have to sow into that need? What do you have in your power? Faith without works is dead. Let's start believing God. Let's step out. And I don't say this like, don't just, start going crazy in your house, but pray. Ask God, God, show me what I have. Show me the talents that you want to use. Show me what you want to see happen. Tell me, show me where I could sow a seed. When I had that chance to sow into somebody's closing, I wasn't out looking for it, but the opportunities will come. When you begin to trust God, when you begin to stand in faith, when you begin to say, God, I'm ready, I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do. Show me what to do. He will bring those opportunities into your life. He will show you. He will stir up the gifts. He will make it plain. He'll show you where he wants you to go. You might not know the whole answer, right? You might not know the entire steps, but you can take that first step. My first step was, I was just thinking about this, doing the bookkeeping business. And so I don't know, it was months ago. I don't even remember when it was. It was a long time ago, maybe even almost a year ago, that I decided to just take this course. I actually began to take the course so that I was doing all of our books. I wanted to get fresh on QuickBooks Online because I used to use, the QuickBooks on the computer, and we were switching over to the online. And I wanted to make sure that I knew how to do the books right for the ministry, because I was doing those for our ministry, and it just grew. God doesn't always give us the full plan, but he gives us the steps to the plan. So I want to encourage you to begin to plant seed today for whatever your need is, for whatever your goals are, for whatever your desires are. We do a vision board workshop every year, and I follow up with some steps and tools to make sure that those dreams and visions come to be. It's once you write the vision, once you write the goal, it's very clear in the Word of God. He says to write the vision and make it plain, like exactly what do you want to see God do, right? And he said, so that those that see it may run with it. Okay, so once you put your vision out there, once you put your dreams out there, once you put your needs out there, what you desire God to do, your miracle that you're waiting for, once you ask, once you write it out, once you make it plain, this is what I want to see happen. This is the change in my life that I want to see happen. Once you just take that first step of faith, you're 42% more likely for it to happen. And here's the other thing. You have to make steps. You have to continue. You can't just write it out there and just, let it, it'll just come to me. No, you have to take action. You have to move by your faith. I love this example, so to speak. I want to lose weight. I want to get in good shape. But you constantly choose the Hershey bar over, and this was by Ed Rohn, you constantly choose the Hershey bar instead of the apple. Again, your faith must have action applied to it. What's one step that you can take? Just remember the 1% rule. Just doing 1% better each day. And you're gonna grow, you're gonna change, things are gonna happen, right? So what's one step today towards your goal? Maybe you want to be out of debt, right? Maybe you're sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you want a better relationship with your spouse, with your children, with your coworkers. Maybe you want your business to grow. What is one step? One thing that you have today, One thing that you can do today towards that goal, towards that dream, towards that miracle. What is one step? You know, I took a step. I needed a miracle. I needed $300,000 that I didn't have for a closing. And so I took steps. I took a lot of steps. I had called so many banks, so many personal investors. I had personal loans. I mean, I had it full out. That is a step of faith. I was finding out options. I was taking a step forward. When we take that step forward, when we find out even our options, even when we go get into, you know, looking into a business, anything that we do. Maybe it's looking into a savings account to come out of debt. Maybe how much are you going to put away, and how much extra can you put towards your debt? You know, every paycheck. These are all little steps that we can take. Maybe you need to grow your business. Well, what's things in your business? You can start taking out your spreadsheets, and you can start looking at, you know, things that are going well and things that are going bad. You know, things that are costing you money and things that are making you money. You know, you can analyze. That is a step of faith right there. You need to take that step of faith. You need to begin to work to use what you have in your possession, and God will cause the miracle to happen. I'm so thankful and so grateful for what God has done in my life. I've seen this over and over and over again. When I do my part, He comes through, crashing through, and He does way above, bigger, better, beyond all that I could ask or think. You know, with this loan that we needed to close on this investment, it was going to cost a lot of money in closing costs. And the interest rates were up there, you know, anywhere from like 8% to some of them were 17%. And the closing costs were anywhere from like 10,000 to like 20,000 on top of the closing costs that we were going to have to close the deal, right? But God did an amazing thing. I was just doing my homework. I was seeing what we could do, and God came through. We don't have a double closing cost, and now we only have 4.25%. God is good. And remember, He's no respecter of person. What He does for one, He'll do for all. That means your miracle, your breakthrough, your need is right around the corner. Remember, it's just a quick shift. That's all it takes, is just one act of obedience to shift it and to see your miracle happen. Well, I am praying for you. I am cheering you on, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that God is going to do great things in you and through you in 2026. And before we leave, I wanted to share with you, you know, I do have Closer to God in 40 Days is available. It is available on Amazon. Now, Closer to God in 40 Days, this is a 40-day devotional that just takes you through some really awesome scriptures and some, you know, journal entering, thoughts that you're going to need to like think about. And then there's always a prayer for the day. And I want to encourage you, this came out of my need when I went through a very severe circumstance and was left almost like basically unfunctionable. And God took me out to the desert for 40 days and 40 nights to restore myself, my soul, my relationship. Everything just needed to be back to the basics with God. And He took me there, and this was out in the desert. Many of these scriptures is what God used to bring me back out of just a really hard time. So I encourage you, go to Amazon.com, or you can go to RobertaKay.com and pick it up there as well. And also, I wanted to share this book with you. This is your year, because I truly believe that 2026 is your year. And this was written by Pastor Sherry Colby. She is my pastor, and she has a church, Victory Worship Center in Lake Worth, Florida. But this book is just, it'll change your life. It'll inspire you. It'll give you the faith you need to see God move and have 2026 become your year. This is available on our website, RobertaKay.com/ I think it's shop. RobertaKay.com/shop. That's a hard one it's a tongue twister. RobertaKay.com/shop. Okay. Any rate, I want to cheer you on. I want to encourage you. Remember, your miracle is just one step of obedience away, and everything is going to shift for you. God loves you. I love you. And I cannot wait to see you again next Friday, 1 o'clock, live on Facebook.